How you doing, guys? What is happening? Put the kettle on. Put the kettle on and just relax. Let this market do its thing. Are we in a rush to throw our money away? No. Adam, what's happening, man? My right-hand man. Shane, how are you? Mr. Jacobite, how are you? Change the hat, I see. Yeah, I mean, look, to be honest, I was going to put both of them on, but I think that just look a bit weird, to be honest. John, how are you? I'm going to give it a minute. I'm going to let you guys come in, and I'll be back in 2 seconds. Sis, how are you? George, welcome. Kevin, welcome. So obviously we're going to be discussing this, just a little downturn, I'd say. It's not that bad. To be fair, look, I've sat through a lot of these. This is nothing. Mike, how you doing, man? Adam, there's no limit. There's no limit, bro. Yeah. For those of you that don't know, Adam is the CSO of Rematic Finance. He's very smart, and he's probably going to say, "No, I'm not," but you are. So we'll just leave it at that. Yeah, there's no limit, man. There is absolutely no limit to the amount of times you can flick that switch on the kettle. Interesting, we saw a pullback upwards at 2250. Well, 22,500. Listen, let's get over to the charts and let's take a look at what's going on, right? So, obviously, pretty much everybody that's here has been following along, with this kind of market analysis for, weeks and weeks and weeks, right? Some of you even as far back as last January, but I digress. This level was absolutely key. So important that this level held. And I was saying, obviously, that if this is traded through, the only place that price is going to want to go is deeper into this liquidity and below this low, right? Now, I want to pause for a second and explain why, because it's all well and good me coming on and doing, these magic tricks, but the question is why? Why not higher? Like, why didn't it absorb this and then just start to run higher? Because the possibility was there for it to do that, but I was adamant, and in fact, I was 100% that it was going to go below this low. And it all starts on the higher time frames, the weeklies, the monthlies, these big time frames. Because what we're looking at when we're looking at the 4-hour, the hourly chart, is just a fleshed out version or confirmation that higher time frame level is being traded to. Now, obviously, as we know, when we go to this chart, we know where the levels are. We're aware of them. We're waiting for that moment. It's either 20K, 48K. I've been going on about this for quite some time, so I'm not going to hash it out. But we know where these levels are, and we know how price is responding. We know, stick my mouse on charge. We know that 28 was likely to be traded to, that the 25 was likely to be traded to, and that the 20 is likely to be traded to, because the first initial drop just here as it scoops up all of this liquidity down here and just eats into some of this imbalance. Responded pretty decently. Mini capitulation, as we've said already, right? But then we start to get this sideways crap for ages and ages and ages, almost a month, right? And every time Bitcoin tried to pop, it just came straight back in, pop, straight back in, showing no indication it wanted to go high. Now, obviously, it's a little bit deeper than that. You're talking about, the way price is flowing, pick up a buy side and deal, dealing off buy side liquidity. Same for sell, for sell side, where the imbalances are. And all of this mathematically shows me, when I'm looking at the charts, a representation of where basically the orders are, right? It's weird It's strange. It makes no sense sometimes, but that's just the way it is, right? And with all of that said, 20K, sub 20K, it's just been a level I've been banging on about since, the 10th of January last year, right? So when we go down to these 4-hour charts, and let's go back to this chart here. When we go back to this, when this liquidity is absorbed, right? So it was finished, and I said I'd leave it on the chart because I wanted to explain a few things. So when this was traded to, the response from that level tells you everything, and it is so muted, it's insane. Look at this tiny little response, and then it starts to drop there. Just as it starts to drop there, it's like 100,000%. Yeah. At that point, just there, when price is at 28,534, you could literally take a short with an open stop and guarantee that price is going to go to the absolute bare minimum, 28,000, right? Now, that is a massive, bold statement to make. But the reality is, it's like if you're driving at 90 miles an hour and the wall is 20 feet in front of you, you're going to hit the wall. You're never stopping in time. It's a guarantee. It's like one of those situations, right? The reason that I have the confidence to say that is because I understand everything leading up to that one point. That's the point I'm trying to make. So this isn't about me showing off. This is about the markets. What are we looking at, right? What can we expect going forward? Obviously, I did the daily update, threw that out this morning. We know, going back to our second chart, okay, we know that this 20,000 level is really, really important. It is at this point almost, 95% going to get traded to, right? So we're not that far off it. It's very unlikely we're going to bounce from this, from this level, probably go even lower, 18K maybe, with a very, for now, slim chance that we touch 14K. Yeah, now 14K seems like a pretty aggressive number. And I can imagine a lot of you are probably thinking, shit, man, 14K, what does that mean for my projects? What does that mean for what I'm in? What does that mean for my investments, my portfolio, and so on? Well, it means that everything's going to go down, right? But also, I think we're in a culling stage right now, if you want to kind of look at it like that, where a lot of these projects are actually going to be really, really tested. Yeah. Predominantly in the reflection token space because they're taxed tokens, yeah, which they bear a heavier burden in the sense of volume, right? I.e. the lack of volume. And obviously, they're going to struggle a little bit more than most static tokens would, or native chain tokens, things like this, or just the normal standard sort of top 100 minus, stable coins. Reflection tokens are going to suffer a little bit more. But the question is, what are you in? Which reflection tokens are you focused on? Which ones are the ones that are going to be, around in a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years down the line, right? This is key. This is what's important, because I know predominantly most of you are in reflection tokens, right? And this is why I'm speaking predominantly about reflection tokens. So the most important thing at the moment is patience. Absolute patience. If we get to 20, we still do nothing. We wait. Now, there's an argument to be made, and it was brought up in my Discord today. And for those watching afterwards, if you're not already in the Discord, the link's going to be in the description below, right? But there was an argument or there is an argument to be made, and it was brought up in the Discord, right? About what about grabbing some now, then maybe grabbing some low if it gets there, because what it just goes from here, and I miss the opportunity. Now, this is an old psychological trick. Yeah, it's a trader's psychological trick. Mind playing tricks on you, because although it's a valid strategy, you have to understand how it works and how to use it. For me, I've found, and this is actually through years and years and years of study statistically, right, that when you try to do things like that, 97% of the time, and this is a real number, 97 to 98% of the time, you will end up getting in, at a price that you would have got in anyway. Yeah, had you not have done all of this kind of fancy stuff and trying to DCA in a really cool way, right? The other thing as well is, if you have, say, $1,000 and you want to DCA into Bitcoin right now, the best place to do that, yeah, from a hypothetical sort of standpoint, no financial advice, no trading advice or anything silly like that, but we're just talking about basic math. The best place to start doing something like that would be at 20,000, because think about what that means, and this is absolutely key. If Bitcoin goes down to 20,000, it's called objective fulfillment. It means that this entire move has finally achieved its target, its goal, right? It's subjective. We take the high and then we take 20K. That is the full completed negated move, which voids the move up to the upside, and price effectively rebalances. Now, we may get a little overspill. It might drop down to 18, might drop down to 19, might snap back. We need acceleration into this level to really, get this moving, and then stop it in its tracks. That's the ideal scenario. But it effectively resets the move, And if it resets the move, you're in a better position, because the downside after your first initial add point is less likely. The drawdown that you will sit through is less than if you grab it now, right? The question is, what if it goes from here, right? What if it just goes from here and I miss it? Well, 99.99999% of the time, it's going to go up and then it's going to pull back, and you still would have get it. Like you're still probably going to end up getting it between sort of 24,000 and 28,000, somewhere in this sweet spot, right? Like it's almost guaranteed that that's going to happen. So why bother? Like, why bother guessing? Unless you're going to take your 1,000 and say, I'm gonna throw $50 in. If it drops a little bit more, I'll throw $100 in. If it drops, say 20,000 to 15,000, maybe stick a couple of $100 in, and you still got that money left. You still got maybe $500-600 left. As it starts to run back up and maybe it breaks this high and it starts to pull back a little bit. You wait for confirmation. And this is all taking weeks and weeks and weeks, right? But you're being super methodical, really, really clinical about your adding, right? And eventually what you'll find, mathematically, emotionally, from a discipline point of view and everything else, it's a much calmer way to be DCAing into a position like Bitcoin, which is extremely volatile and could do anything at any moment, right? So patience. Just got to be really, really careful, really patient. Let the market decide what it wants to do. Let it tell us what it wants to do. You guys know I've maintained this, 48K, 20K. One of these two levels is going to get traded to first. Like, it's going to be 20K. So when it gets there, then I can start thinking, all right, look, what does that mean for me? What does that mean for my portfolio? What does that mean for, the analysis? Is it telling me anything good? Is it probably going to dip a little bit lower? I'm pretty anal with my entry points. I mean, I can time the market really, really well, because I've been doing this for so long, right? But it's not because I'm good at reading charts. I'm brilliant at reading charts. Yes, fine. But that's not what it is. It's because I'm super, super disciplined, and I don't mind waiting for that moment, because I'm not scared to miss a move. Really listen for a sec. I'm not scared to miss a move. I'm not scared, to miss a move. I don't want to FOMO in. I don't want to, let my emotions get the best of me. I've got no interest in my emotions making the decision for me. So when you remove all of this hype, FOMO, fear, greed, all of this stuff, and you're just left with this lump of nothing, I'm just a rock, a stone, and I'm just trying to time the market. Nothing bothers you anymore. And you by default, you just end up becoming a much, much better investor and a much, much better trader. Binance, still believe Binance is probably going to hit 200. These lows are very important. We're sitting right inside a liquidity pool, and to be fair, the liquidity probably around about sort of 205 to 210. That's really the kind of sweet spot. So I think it's just going to bleed down there. Maybe even as low as 185. With this level down here being like, sort of, there's the 139 and there's a 148. These are two key levels as well that we have to be mindful of. But ultimately, it's like anything, right? If we let this kind of unfold, we let it pan out, and we just keep our powder dry, we'll be in a position to be able to take advantage of a really, really good, solid downturn in the market. And then you hold for years. And here's the thing. Before I get to the questions, because I can't see what you guys are typing, don't let this chance pass you by, right? And what I mean by that is, don't make the mistake of accumulating any position or adding to your positions right during this perfect storm, so to speak. Do well with your add points, do well with your positions, do well with your portfolio management, and then screw it all up by getting out when Bitcoin gets back to 30K or 32 or 34. I mean, that's not what we're doing here. We're not trading, this market. We are investing for 5 years down the line. If you're not investing in this market for 5 years down the line, minimum, Go and do something else, because you're going to get yourself into trouble, and your emotions are going to get the best of you, and the whole cycle will start again. And then finally, when the cryptocurrency market recovers and really starts to go, you will be that I wish guy, yeah, or gal. In this case, there's always both. So, I just use guys as plural, but whatever. But you get my point. You get my point. Don't be that I wish. Oh man, I wish I did. I wish. We don't want to be that. We just want to hold for 5 years, and sit back and say, do you know what? I got in at 40. Who cares? Bitcoin's at 150. Do you know what I mean? That's the mentality that you need. So let's jump over to the questions. Wow. Guys, there's 80 people in here. Why am I black and white? What's that all about? That's pretty cool, actually. I like that effect. I'm impressed. I am impressed. Let's turn the kettle off. Let's turn the kettle off. Right. I'm really happy. 90, and that's almost, sorry, over 80, sorry, can't speak. Over 80 people in here. That's pretty cool. Very, very happy with that, guys. Thank you very much. All right, so let me get to some of these questions. So Don, you were saying it's interesting, right? We saw a pullback upwards at 22.5, right? So I want to address this quickly. Let's go down to 4 hour. So around about 22.5, and then we get a little bit of a response. Obviously, we know that this is nothing in terms of Bitcoin. It's moved like what, $1,000, whatever. It's nothing. It's absolutely nothing. But if we go over to the daily, you can see, check this out, right? Can you see that acceleration, guys, and why it's slowing down? Because it's drying up. When price starts to do that, and you get these little pockets of responses, yes, because liquidity is drying up. But the after effect, the reaction, the point that it happens at, that's the key point. It's like, okay, is it going to keep going? Yes or no. Is the response aggressive? Is the move really, really moving away from that level? Let's say it hit 22.5 and really start to explode back up to 32. That's significant. That tells us something. But in this case, we're not really seeing that. We need to drop down to the 15 just to show you. Look at the controlled nature of this move to the downside. Very, very controlled. Nice, calm, steady. Pick up a sell side, deal off, sell, deal off. This little portion just here, where you see a very small, as price starts to kind of expand and contract a little bit wider than normal. It's just a pocket of relief based on, the market's waiting a little. There might be a little bit of, liquidity dry up. It's almost algorithmic, where the price is like, yep, I need to reset for a little second, and then I'm just going to off I go again, to whatever liquidity it's trying to drive for. Now, in this case, the actual point was, let me see if I can work this out. So 22.5. So it would have been basically just shy of a rebalance point. That's why it did that. Which I know may mean nothing to you, but it would take me forever to explain that. But all it basically means is it's just hit a little bit of a brick wall where it needs to pick up and deal off, or facilitate trade both sides of the market very, very quickly, right, until it continues its way to go and reach for, whatever liquidity it's going for, which in this case, we know at this point is going to be around about 20K, right? That's where the liquidity is, that's the draw on price. That's the magnet. Let's be smart, go on and be smart. Volume has been jumping. Yeah. I mean, it makes sense that volume would be jumping, to be honest. All right, give me a second, guys. Let me see if I can work this out. Come on, guys. Listen, hit that like button, yeah? Keep smashing that like button, because I want to see this counter at 100. We've been saying this for a while, yeah? Let's get it up to 100. I'm going to come off camera a second. I'm going to see if it fixes this black and white. Nope. Didn't fix the black and white button, but it is what it is. I don't mind. I don't mind sitting here in black and white. It's pretty cool. Fed interest rate on... sorry, Shane. So, yeah, Fed interest rate rise on Wednesday, so the dump before the bump. Well, I posted a tweet, and I was saying in that tweet that, first of all, we don't know if it's going to be a rate hike, but it probably will be, right? Let's just say it as it is, as you said, right? It's very, very likely we get 0.5, minimum 50 basis points minimum. That is very, very likely it's going to happen, almost guaranteed. At this point, inflation is so high that, whatever they're going to do is not really going to make much of a difference anyway. They're going to make more of a mess, I think. But either way, it needs to happen, right? So I think what's happening is the market's already pricing this in. Yeah. So the markets are basically moving in, a way where they price all of that in. And probably what's going to end up happening is when the announcement is released, nobody's going to care. Whatever they say afterwards, nobody's going to care. And then we might get a little bit of relief. Now, the ideal scenario, as I've said, is that price really starts to accelerate into 20K, sub 20K, 19, 18, hovers around there for a little while, about 2 hours before the announcement. Then the announcement comes, then we get an explosive move to the upside, and we start to challenge sort of 28K again. That's the ideal scenario, because then it will just stretch the market out, slow it down, really dry up on liquidity, and then we can just all sit back and relax again, like we were doing for about a month while price was just kind of stabilizing around about 29 to 31. That's the ideal scenario. That's what we want to see, really. Ευχαριστούμε για όλα, φίλε. No problem, George. LSP dropping some knowledge. Yes, I am. Yep. Let's take a look here. Sorry, guys. I've got to scroll back up a little bit. I don't like missing questions. Yeah, no worries, Shane. You're welcome, man. I've got sick memory, honestly. Like, I read something and then I put it in a folder in my head and I come back to it when I have to. I'm a bit weird like that. What's this? Sergio132. If you have, let's say, 1K, which would you say is better to get into, Bitcoin or Ethereum? The way that you phrase the question means I can't answer it, Sergio132, because it's going to be classed as financial advice, which is obviously a big no-no for me. You guys know how I am with stuff like this. Let me think. As an Ethereum miner, I'm really starting to hate Ethereum, right? I'll leave it at that. 29 level, of course. Yeah, DCAing in, buying in. I understand that, but specifically, what does that mean? DCAing in, buying in. I understand that, but specifically, what does that mean? Dollar cost averaging. I think that's what you're asking. I think if that's what you're asking, DCA basically means dollar cost averaging. So you're bringing your cost closer to your current price. So if you get in at $100, for example, and price drops to 50, and you add exactly double the amount. So if you got $100 in something that's at $100, and then you go and add another $100 at $50, your average cost will be $75. I hope that makes sense, man. Long winter ahead. Well, it depends. It depends, Nigel, right? Think about it. If your perception of this winter, right, is you really don't care, and it means absolutely nothing to you, then for you, it's not going to matter. Now, I know what you're getting at. Like, are we expecting now for this to just be really drawn out and this is just going to last and just go on and on and on, right? And that is a real possibility. But the point I'm trying to make is if we as, professionals, like real investors who are trying to navigate our way in and out of this market to make sure that we come out on the other side in a much better position than when we went in, then we have to change the way we think. Yeah. You guys don't hear me say moon, hype, FOMO, FUD. I don't use any of these words. You guys know I hate crypto winter. Anything like hodl. I use the word hold because it's spelled HOLD, right? And I know, again, people will say, oh, you're just being, anal, you're being a bit condescending, whatever. It's not about that. It's about really understanding that when you use this rhetoric, or when you use these words, or when you follow, behind these kind of hype craziness, yeah, you end up falling prey to the emotion that comes with that. which is not what we want. We've got no interest in the emotion that comes with that. I have got no interest in the emotion that comes with it's a crypto winter. Is it? Is it really? I've sat through a market crash that obliterated my portfolio, right, by 90%. Yeah. I went through that gut wrenching feeling. For me, if somebody said to me, oh, that was the Dow Jones winter, I would have punched them in the face. Yeah. Because you're not helping me. Like, it makes no difference to me. Right. So if we change the way we use language, if we change what we're doing, we will come out on the other side of this much better. Right. And it really is that important. This is why my videos don't get a lot of views. This is why most people aren't interested in what I have to say, because I make sense. Yeah. They prefer, I'm not interested. When's the next 100x? Where can I find that 100x? I just want 100x my money. Yeah. And it's a shame because, these people suffer. Sometimes the rock needs to start moving. Yeah, it does. It does. But the rock can stay there for a very, very long time, before it needs to be moved. Move some money to USDT or just add to your back. I've got all my money in fiat, man. I've got no interest in getting involved in stable coins. Nothing. At the minute, it's purely fiat. And I'm being very methodical about my adding. I'm only adding to projects that I absolutely know, hands down, are going to be around in 5 years' time. Done. What do we got here, Robert? Got to say, I did exactly what you said not to. Bought some BNB at 225, then hoped to buy more at 200. I didn't want to sleep through it, to be honest. There's nothing wrong with that, to be honest. It's not, don't make the mistake, guys, of thinking just because I say one thing. Guys, we need 5 more people in this stream to hit that 100. I'm not getting off the stream until it hits 100. So just post the link somewhere. Throw it. 96, 4 more people. Let's do it, man. We're going to have a celebration online. But yeah, Robert, what I was saying was what I'm saying, it doesn't mean it's gospel or anything like that. Obviously, I've got a lot of experience. You guys know this by now, but 97, let's go. So the idea with this is to make sure that you're comfortable and it fits your plan. It fits the way you are. Oh my, sorry, 1 second, Robert. 100 people. Come on, guys. We need one person, right, to come into this stream to hit that 100. I'm getting ready for it. Oh man, it's just dropped to 96 again. But anyway, I'll keep an eye on it and we'll see what happens, right? But it's got to fit your plan. It's got to fit your investment style, your strategy, what you're looking to do. And let's say, for example, you buy a little bit of BNB at 225, $100 worth, right? And then you add 500 at 200. That makes more sense, for example, yeah, than it would if you were to, buy $1,000 of BNB at 225 and then just add 500 at 200. That's never going to work. Yeah. The other thing as well is when you're adding to your positions, try to do it as spaced out as possible. You know what I mean? To really reduce that mathematical impact. Yeah. You want the math to really smash, that cost as much as possible. You don't want it the other way around. K4 box, I'm good, man. What's happening? Can you repeat everything, Brian? Yeah, no problem. All right, guys. So, never going to happen, Brian. What we got here, Mike? Would you not consider selling parts at certain levels within 5 years? Of course. I mean, the exit strategy is just as important as the entry strategy. And to be honest, it's actually even more important because if you don't have an exit strategy, then why are you trading? Why are you investing? This is not directed at you, of course, Mike. I'm just saying in general. A lot of people have no idea. I actually posed this question to people once and I said, what would you do if price just exploded to the upside? And it was about Evergrow. It was in a video. And I was like, let's just say Evergrow explodes to the upside. What would you do with that? And I'm not joking. Almost nobody knew what to say. They were like, actually, I'm not. Hey, 101. That is definitely getting shotted, man. Guys, thank you so much, man. That's really made my day. That has really, really made my day. That has. So the you have to have an exit strategy. It's very easy to say, I'm going to do this and I'm going to buy and I'm going to whatever. But, we're investors. We have to plan the entire investment from start to finish, not just like the entry. People are so focused on the entry, and actually the entry has very little to do with making money in the markets, actually. And it's statistic. It's an actual statistical, mathematical fact. So less focus on entry, more focus on the middle point and the end point. Because in 5 years' time, if everybody that's in this live stream isn't better off in 5 years' time than you are now, right? I'm not saying you've done something wrong or anything like that, because circumstances get the best of us sometimes in life. There's nothing we can do about that. I've been through so many things in my life that had absolutely nothing to do with me. But the reality is we have to be able to do everything that we can to make sure, right, that in 5 years' time, when we're looking to exit or we're looking to draw on some of the money that we've made, that we're able to do so because we were smart now. Could you please zoom the chart? Yeah, I suppose I could do this. Stick me in the bottom corner. Hope that helps. My sister's saying, I've locked FOMO Romo in the basement and bound her hands so she can't do anything stupid until BTC 20K. Yeah, absolutely, man. Oh, man. Awesome. Wow, you guys are really typing fast today. Let me just move this mic a little bit. So, nice one, L Crypto 20. Appreciate it, mate. I'm really, really happy you're here. Thanks for grabbing it at the low. Oh, 5 years, completely agreed, dude. Yeah, that's an interesting question, Shane. I'll tell you what, for now, let me just put myself back like this. And then when we get to the charts, I'll go to the charts, right? Because I need to be able to see myself as I'm talking. Do you think it's better to split it between BTC, Ethereum, BNB, along with projects, or solid focus on one or two? A little bit of diversification. You've got to remember as well the chains that you're on. So Binance is a chain, it's a network. Ethereum's its own network. Bitcoin's its own network. Now, obviously, Bitcoin's completely on its own page, so it doesn't really matter for what I'm going to say. But when it comes to sort of Ethereum and Binance, they have their own ecosystem. They have their own projects that are obviously on those, those chains. So for me, and I can only speak for myself, I predominantly focus more on, Binance, because that's where I spend most of my time. That's where my home is at the moment. Yeah. So diversify, make sure that you're in a position to be able to pick up, like I'll give you an example. If you were to put everything in Binance, so a little bit of Binance, but everything else is on, within projects on the Binance smart chain, then everything's going to be affected anyway. You know what I mean? Whereas diversifying into something like a little bit of Ethereum, a little bit of Bitcoin wouldn't be a bad thing. But I can't tell you which one to do or what to do because it's not my place. You're saying Bigar. Yeah, man. Here's the thing, man. Like we're in a privileged position, and I say privileged, right? Because we had the opportunity to get into some of these projects quite early, these reflection token projects, right? And I know this doesn't apply to everybody, but being able to get into some of these projects, and even now when these projects are so low, to pick up huge, huge bags of these reflection tokens, the good ones, the solid ones, all the stuff I normally talk about, right? And build huge positions for when the utilities hit, for when they start to produce, for when the volume starts to come back to the markets. You're gonna constantly accumulate your BUSD or whatever it's being reflected in, but also you get that growth factor as well over time as prices start to recover. So we're in a very good position to be accumulating a little bit of BNB, a little bit of Binance, a little bit of BUSD, and just kind of let it sit there. And if you forget about it, like BBFT, for example, they do a bit of staking, throw it all in the staking. Brew Labs, they do staking, throw it in the staking. Don't think about it, forget about it. Like, it makes me laugh because people get into reflection tokens. They're like, yeah, I'm going to get into a reflection token. I'm going to get as many as I can. I'm going to make some money on my reflections every day. And then They whine and complain when price is going down. Forget about price. The reflections is that's why you're there, right? If you want to be in a reflection token because it's going to be around for a long time and give you money consistently over time, for you to have an additional stream of income in, say, 3 years' time, does it matter what price is saying? Not really. The only thing that matters is volume being generated? Is it a solid project? Are there utilities that are generating revenue? And so on and so on and so on. This is what's key. This is what's key. When you plugged in your mouse, it went to black and white. That is a very good point, actually. That is a very, very good point. Let me come off the camera again and come back on. Sorry, guys. To be honest, I imagine I'd probably have to restart the stream, but it is fine. You know, a bit of black and white, whatever. It's not a problem. But thanks for pointing that out. Thanks for pointing that out, Robert. Yeah, Mike, 100, man. I think we tagged 102, which is absolutely phenomenal. I'm really happy about that. Really, really happy about that. Honestly, guys, like, you know, when people say thank you so much and everything else, you know, there are genuine people out there that are so happy just to get a couple of subscribers. You know what I mean? That's a big deal for me. You know, getting 100 people in here. And I genuinely mean it, man. I'm really, really pleased. Yep. Thanks, Shane. Here's an interesting one, Mike. I do wonder, does increasing interest solve issues like, for example, high gas? No, it's not going to solve any of these problems, Mike, to be honest. The only thing that's going to solve these problems is just a global crash. Reset. Bang. Everything just goes down. Everybody's fear, just max fear, max pain. When that happens, then the markets will start to recover. That's the only thing that's going to fix this, you know, and it happens every time. That's just the way it is, unfortunately. Guys, you need to understand something. There's no fixing this. You can't fix inflation. Not at these levels. Not a chance. You know, it doesn't matter what they do, quantitative tightening, quantitative easing, a combination of both. It's all crap. Nothing is going to fix this problem with inflation. And if anybody tells you that it can be fixed, I don't know what to say. I'm not saying that I'm 100% right, but it's just, it can't be fixed. They've tried, they do this every time. It's like literally watching a film that's been played 50 times. You know, it's not going to change. It's just not going to change. So we need max pain. When that happens, things will reset. It will get to a point as it has in previous years, you know, and things will start to settle, and then the markets will start to recover. And as I said many times over the last 3 years, we are going to go into, you know, an inflationary market, potentially hyperinflationary market. When that happens, you know, the markets will crash and cryptocurrency will bounce back faster than the rest. You know, that's always been how it's going to pan out. And I talk with confidence because I'm very confident in the analysis that I do. You know, you guys obviously don't know some of the other stuff. I do so much analysis in the background. You know, I track global markets, trends, emerging markets, you know, oil prices, gas prices, commodities, everything, commitment of traders, you know, open interest. Just the list is endless, right? To get to this point where I arrive at and say, yeah, we're going into an inflationary market in a couple of years. You know, it's just it's experience basically, you know, and seeing, you know, I've been in business before and I've had many businesses and I've gone through this kind of cycle where you see these trends, you know, in different companies going up and down, you know, even in construction, for example, with prices going up in construction. It was obvious it was going to happen. I mean, I went to go and put some petrol in today. It's like 189. £1.89. It's almost $2. It's almost £2. And I know obviously in some service stations up the M1, which is one of the motorways over here, you know, gas prices or petrol prices at £2.13 is the highest it's been seen. That is disgusting, man. That is absolutely shocking. There is no fixing this. Yeah, max pain. And I can say that with confidence and with a massive smile on my face because we're gonna ride this storm and we're gonna really navigate through this sea of mess and come out on the other side. Like, watch this space. Would you suggest it's a good idea to start adding to your bag when BTC hits 20K on some projects you've got in higher just to bring your average price down, or wait more? Well, it's an interesting question from a non-financial educational point of view. To learn to be a better investor, think about the mechanics of, you know, if you tick all of these boxes: solid project, you believe in the project, you're disciplined, you're going to stay around for three years minimum, from now until another 3 years go by, you're not going to sell that project, you're quite happy to even take that, cryptocurrency and put it on a ledger, stick it in a safe in the bank for 2 years with no access, like real extreme stuff, right? Then, having said that, I'm going to take a snapshot of that as well. 104, guys. Awesome. So with all of those boxes ticked, then it kind of answers the question for you, PRD, because you want to be in projects that you believe in. And in doing so, you want to try to get the best possible price for your project. So if buying at a really low price, calmly, with a plan, executed to, that exact plan, it makes sense. Of course it makes sense, Fred is asking, do you think projects that will be launching in the next day or two should hold off, or is it still safe for them to go ahead and launch? The launch, any project that launches, right, can launch safely in any market condition. The markets themselves make absolutely no difference to the actual launch itself. Yeah, there's never going to be an issue unless you're launching on a chain that has problems, for example, and the problem exists before you try to launch. This is different, right? So, just for argument's sake, Phantom, they had a problem with one of their stable coins on there. Who's going to launch on Phantom? I wouldn't do that. It's a bit crazy. Even if the Phantom chain is absolutely flawless, I still wouldn't want to launch on a Phantom chain, knowing that that could potentially be a problem, right? So, the real question is, does it work for the project themselves? Yeah. What are they trying to achieve? What are they trying to do? Are they trying to get into a position where it's fine if they kind of ride this storm? Personally, I feel, and I absolutely 100% believe very strongly and very firmly, that launching a project in a down market is so much better than launching a project in an up market. Yeah, 100%. There's no question about this. Trust me, it is so much better, as long as you do it right. If it's done properly and it's done clinically with the right numbers, you're in a solid position and you will ride that storm. Not storm, sorry. You will ride that move back up and really take advantage, of that bull run. I said to somebody today, I said, do you have any idea how lucky you are to be in a market like this, to learn from a market like this? I said, these don't come around very often. I said, make the most of it, man. Don't waste this opportunity by crying and moaning about all the stuff that you can't do. Go and learn. Go and experience the market. This is great training ground for all of us, man. Even me, I've done this. This is my fourth one now. And I love it. I absolutely love it, man. Whenever anybody starts with not financial advice, lol, and then they ask a question, it's 100% financial advice, and I haven't even read the question yet. What would you call it when you short on the way down and then buy in at the bottom and ride it to the top? All right, 1 second. Let me read that again. What would you call, or what do you call it when you short on the way down and then buy in at the bottom and ride it to the top? I don't know. Time in the market, buy back. I'm confused. Free gender. I'm not sure what you're asking. Buy it on the way down, buy at the bottom. Sorry, short on the way down, buy at the bottom. Great trade. And then ride it to the top. Perfect timing. That sounds like a fantastic. If you could do that, that sounds like a great trading plan, to be honest. This is as close to financial advice as it can. Yeah, absolutely, Shep. How do projects ensure that they have enough funds to survive during these markets when they are still in the development stage, have no real revenue streams, etc.? example, Rematic. Well, here's the thing. It's about managing your existing funds and making sure that the timing that you have to get to the point where it's like, if you, for argument's sake, you speak to a development team. Let's say you launch, and then the development team says it's going to take us 3.5 months to build out whatever utility you're trying to build out. Then those funds that you have at that time, okay, have to be used and managed carefully, right? As long as that's done properly and you give yourself enough time to get to that utility point, then you're fine. And obviously months after that as well, yeah, because again, it's about cash flow. It's about understanding where all of that money needs to go, where it doesn't need to go, because that's just as important as well. Making sure that things are carefully and meticulously, moderated. So you're not using money, like I said, that you're not supposed to be using, and then riding out that storm, because ultimately you also have to factor in, nobody knows, except for me, obviously, I'm just kidding, Mark, but nobody knows, that you're going to get a downturn like this, like we've had in the markets recently. Yeah. When, and we'll use Rematic as the example, Rematic launched last year, yeah, in December, sort of November, December. And that's like quite a while ago in terms of crypto time. So nobody's going to know back then, okay, we're going to launch a project and we're going to expect the markets to go down. So we're going to really, make sure that we're in a good position when that time comes. You try your best to put contingencies in place or to plan for the worst case scenario, which is always a good idea. But it's very difficult, and this applies to every project that's suffering right now, because to be honest, it's not Rematic, it's not Evergrow, it's not BBFT, it's not, Brew Labs, it's not. There is no one specific project that you can point to and say, unless they're doing something wrong, that you can point to and say they're not naturally suffering through this market turn, right? So, in terms of in terms of directly answering that question, how do projects ensure that they have enough funds? It's managing those funds correctly in the first place. That's what it really boils down to. Invested in HODL anyway. The email from Celsius this morning made me think, hey, this could be good for Swissborg in time. 100%. 100%. This is absolutely going to be good for Swissborg. All day long. Swissborg is, I keep saying it, man. I keep telling people today, somebody asked me today, what's this? I said Swissborg straight away. Swissborg. 100%. You're welcome, Niger. That's interesting. Is that what happened with the HODL word? Somebody misspelled it in a Reddit post, I believe, and it's still, yeah, cool. That's pretty cool. It is cool, to be fair. I just don't like using the word. I'm gonna HODL. I'm just, maybe I'm a little bit older. Any thoughts on EGC? Same as every other project, to be honest, Andre. We just have to be patient, wait. If Bitcoin gets to 20K, obviously everything's going to suffer. We will see a little bit more downturn. But in terms of going back to the previous question, regarding, getting through these tough times, Evergrow coin is in a very strong position in terms of its cash flow, so they can weather this easily. And again, it's just patience, man, Andre. It's just being very, very patient, just kind of grinding through, the downturn. Yeah, we smashed it, Mike. Didn't need to do that. Not a fan of giveaways, to be honest. No worries, Adders, mate. Appreciate it. We smashed it, guys, man. I mean, it was so cool. I'm so happy that we got past that. Man, you guys are really asking some awesome questions tonight. Oh, Ben. My man, Ben. Saying, Don, your target is that low. Got to be careful. Yeah. Any thoughts on Ethereum? TN? Any thoughts on Ethereum RN? Not sure what you mean there, Ben. Either way. Oh, sorry. You mean the transaction hash? Oh man, actually, I'm not sure what you mean, Ben. To be honest, Ethereum TN, Ethereum RM. Nice one, Bigo. I really appreciate that, man. Thank you. Would you consider covering QNT? Let's take a look. Let's go to our normal Tesla chart, which I still think is going to be down here at 500. Shh, I didn't say that. Sorry, Sam, if you're listening. QNT. So, yeah, I mean, look, it's past its point. You know, it's all-time low. Obviously, gone past that. The only way that I would even consider, and this is purely charting, purely, you know, in terms of what I do in terms of charting, right? The only thing that I would do with this would be to wait for it to get back above this here, basically, before I'd even consider doing anything. So it would have to get back above these highs, around about $75 to $80. I'd want to see it cleanly through 80. And then once it's through 80, I'd want to see it stabilize, maybe get to 90, pull back, you know, create a consolidation, pop again, so on. Maybe on the third or fourth pullback, then I would be interested in maybe doing something with it. I wouldn't engage with it down here. I'd want to see confirmation, to be honest. Question into the fray. Have we been in a recession for half a year? You only really know in retrospect, don't you? Yeah, I'd say the run up to it was probably about 8 months ago, was when it really started. Yeah, maybe 8, 9 months ago, I'd say, to be fair. Yeah, it's difficult to track because you don't see the effects of inflation until a couple of months after, you know, when you start to see little cracks here and there. I noticed it when I was in the construction industry for a little while, that the prices of, you know, especially wood, you know, was going up. So, you know, and there was shortages and things like this, and it's like, yeah, you know, so I'd say about 8 months ago. Nice one, Tim. Yeah, black and white looks pretty cool. I might just leave it like that. No problem. This makes me very happy. Yeah, it's great advice, Neil. 100%. I agree with that. Forget the price at the moment. Concentrate on building positions in these strong projects. Absolutely. If the United States would start producing oil again, the gas price would go back down to 180 in my country and state. Yeah. But here's the thing. You've got to think about why they wouldn't do that if they're in a position to be able to do that. Yeah. So if they're in a position to be able to do that and they don't, you've got to think about, you know, what are the you know, ulterior motives for doing business with other countries. When Max Payne. If this really, really goes, man, 14K. Dare I say it, man. I know it's just the reality of the analysis. But again, just chilling, yeah? We just go with it. 106. Nice, Gem. Did you see 106? Wicked, man. So the next one, yeah, 100%. No, 150. Let's just go 150, man. Big numbers. 90s kids will remember. What a game. What an absolute game. Bullet time. Best game, man. Such a cool game. Hey, mate, you seem pretty cool. LSPTV, how's your trading going? Good. Zero complaints. Thank you for asking. I'm both, Minor. I trade the pound USD and the euro USD on the Forex market. They're the only two pairs that I focus on. And in terms of investing, it's just pretty much everything, really. As long as it makes sense, as long as it's a project I can, you know, or a company, whatever, that I can stay in for a very long time, I'm happy. But both, to answer your question. Painkillers for bullet time, yeah, man. Absolutely, Adders. It's such a cool game, man. I remember that game. It's such a brilliant game. What would you say are good hedges against the max paying precious metals or being in fiat? If you're going to put your money in fiat, this is going to sound odd, right? But if you're going to put your money in fiat, and this is not financial advice at all. I know I keep saying that, guys, but it really isn't. But just look at the Swiss franc, very strong. Yeah, and the Norwegian kroner as well, very strong. Two very strong currencies. Regardless of whatever their price is, they're solid currencies. And gold, to be fair, just a tried and tested gold, the actual physical metal. I would be very reluctant to hold my money in fiat currency if I thought we were going to have an absolute total global meltdown. Yeah, I'd try really hard to get some gold as quickly as possible if I could do that. And try to avoid putting money in fiat, basically. Would love to be in the live stream as regular, but it's in the middle of my work day. Always jump on a replay, though. Love your content. Hope I can learn something. Old dog, new tricks. Yeah, man. You're very welcome, Paul, man. I really appreciate that. We are always learning, man. Always. As long as I'm alive, I'll be learning. It's the best way, man. Just try to learn as much as you can. Just soak everything up like a sponge. Mine is saying a lot of projects launching now will not get the capital they want and need. They will. Think about the numbers, right? If a project needs X amount, right, to do whatever it needs to do, you adjust the numbers. Because if the price of BNB is at X, and then you adjust the number for X, you can actually save money and still get full allocation. Jose, very interesting question. Do you think crypto will go back to previous all-time high during next 2 years, or will be a slow process of recovery? I think it's going to be... It's hard to tell now. I can't give an exact answer, obviously. I guess nobody could, but I'd want to say that I think the possibility is there for the next 2 years, right, for price to be back at all-time high, right? Predominantly Bitcoin. This is what we're talking about right now, right? Bitcoin. The possibility for it to get there is there for the next 2 years. Anything can happen. Cryptocurrency is very volatile, and when it really starts to go, it goes, right? So that's a possibility. The entire crypto market itself, in terms of the recovery phase, will depend on how. I mean, I could answer this question if we hit max pain, if we hit a reversal point, if we get confirmation of a turn, something like that. I'd be able to answer this question with a little bit more certainty, because the reaction would give me the indication that I need to say, yeah, okay, look, this pick up here of buy side, or that drop off there, whatever it is, of liquidity or imbalances or rebalances, happened in such a way that it means we're probably going to get more of a sort of subdued move back up to the upside. So we'll revisit that one, Jose, all right? During the live streams, over the coming weeks and months, if you remember, keep throwing a question out and we'll keep revisiting it. You'd call that trading? I'm not sure what mine is saying. Crypto surfing. Thank you, WPH. What's your opinion on projects potentially merging in this kind of market? I think it makes sense. I mean, it would have to work for both projects. It would have to be... Basically, it would have to tick all the boxes, whatever that looks like. But two projects together pooling their resources would be obviously a lot stronger than one project trying to fight its way through this market with limited resources, for example. Yeah, so interesting question. How about the micro and macro project who dropped from $7 to 40 cents, but they promising legit and working hard on delivering? It's risky, but the gains should be insane. Is it worth the risk? I don't know what you're talking about, Playman, but I wouldn't touch something like that. I'm not sure. Like, based on what the way you've explained it, I wouldn't be interested in something like that. That's not something that I'd want to get involved in. The way you've written it doesn't make sense. That sounds like a scary project. Watch it be one that I'm already in. Yep, absolutely minor. I've known a downturn has been coming for like a month. True. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All the signs were there. All the signs were there. You know, it's pretty obvious it was going to happen. It's our reaction to it, obviously, that keeps us safe. That's the most important thing. Do you have a specific video that details exactly how you examine liquidity and put levels on a chart? No. Um, I rarely do this, yeah, but I've got a Patreon. There's about almost 90 videos in there of all the educational content. And I'm constantly updating it. It's like an ongoing sort of library of education. It's all there, basically. And anybody that's in it will tell you I absolutely hate plugging my Patreon. I prefer people to just find it on their own. But there's some really good content in there, amazing content, to be fair. And that's basically 26 plus, 26 plus years of my life. Oh, Shane, yeah, Shane just said it, Patreon. Thanks, Shane. Jin. Minor, are you in the Discord? In the LSPTV Discord? Come into the Discord, man. You seem like you know what you're talking about. I'll be interested to pick your brain. Any thoughts on Pulse Chain launch? Pulse Chain? No. If you ask me in the Discord, Neil. Pulse Chain. Why am I thinking of Polkadot? Parachain. It's all right. Forget it. Just ignore that last comment. I don't have any thoughts on it, Neil, at the moment. Sorry, man. But remind me, DM me or something, and I'll have a look, because there's loads of comments. I just want to get through these. Yeah, it does. That's what it does mean, Beagle. Hold on for dear life. Yeah. The very notion of holding on for dear life, what's that telling you? So I mean, it just doesn't make sense, man. I believe, Nico, let's get to Ethereum. Let's look at this chart. I do believe it's a possibility. Like if we go to this chart here, and if you're not used to me, I like to have multiple charts, like showing different things. This level down here, sort of 735. If Bitcoin drops to 20K, remember, Bitcoin's at 23,400. We've got to make a clear distinction, right, between, we've got to make a clear distinction between where Bitcoin is now and how very close it is to 20K already. It's not like it's going to drop under 30,000 points to get to 20K. So it's not that big of a deal, really. It's just the way it gets down there, right? So the movement from 23.3 on Bitcoin down to sort of 20,000, maybe 19,000 isn't really going to push Ethereum that much. Yeah. So we might see maybe halfway, maybe 1,000, maybe 1,100, something like that on Ethereum. But if it really starts to go, if Bitcoin really starts to drop, the possibility of Ethereum getting down to, sort of 750 is there. Is it likely? Not sure yet. Not 100%, but there's no liquidity here. That's gone. That's finished now. So, where it's at, the next point basically is down here at 712. Yeah. But it has to pass through that monthly liquidity pool, which starts at sort of 735. So that would be the first place it would go to. Again, assuming that Bitcoin really starts to move. Yeah. That's absolutely key. He means tonight, LSPTV. Oh, sorry, tonight. Oh my goodness. Ethereum tonight. Yeah, possibly a little bit lower, Ben, if you're still listening. Possibly a little bit lower. My brain's just not working. So mine is saying BTC bear market target 8K. Strong number, man. Strong number. I'm not sure as low as 8K. But I'm not saying it's not possible either. Yeah, I'm focused on 14K. If you haven't seen the crash video I put out, it's just in the thumbnail, it says crash in red letters, question mark. Be interesting one for you to watch. Is DCAing into projects you believe in still worth it, or better to wait it out? Again, this depends on you and your circumstances. For me, because I have maybe a little bit of spare cash from time to time, I don't mind throwing it into something that I absolutely firmly believe in. I'm not doing that now at the moment, But well, I did it recently on one project, but it's not something that I'd want to do until I feel the market is starting to at least stabilize. Doesn't necessarily mean it has to recover and start to go up, but at least stabilizing. If it stabilizes a little bit, then I can start thinking about doing, maybe a little bit of adding to positions. But I would do that very slowly with very limited, amounts of money to start with, and then we kind of see how we get on. In terms of DCAing into projects that you still believe in, or waiting it out as a direct answer, personally, I prefer to wait it out. Yeah, I'd rather see confirmation, because think about it. By default, if the benchmark Bitcoin is moving around and it's dragging everything else with it, then when Bitcoin stabilizes, everything else starts to stabilize as well, and we'll see it across the board. Then we can start to engage safely, if that makes sense. Charlie Martinez, I've been trying to migrate my Rematic to V2 and haven't had any luck. Any suggestions? Yeah, go into the official Rematic Discord. Now, before you do, Charlie, ask in my Discord for the Rematic link, for the official Rematic link, all right, for the Discord or for the Telegram and stuff, something like that. So you get it directly from me. Yeah. So there's absolutely no way that you can be given a spam or scam, account or anything like that. So you don't end up in the wrong place. Just come into the Discord. The link's in the description below. And message me directly. I'm LSPTV in there. Obviously, I've got a little crown next to my name if you're not already in there, because I know some of you, obviously, your names online are different to the names that you've got in Discord. And I'll personally give you the right one to go into. You're better to be in the Discord, to be fair. Nigel, the mistake I made in last bear market is not adding enough on project that I believe in. So this time I'm adding and playing by your book rule. Many thanks. Love your content. You're welcome, man. Do it for you, man. Don't do it for me. But I appreciate it, man. I know what you're saying. I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, I've got that, man. Check it out. Check it out. There you go. I just leave that up now. Surprised you trade and invest. Haven't heard that from many traders. Well, I have always been a trader, actually a scalper, right? Super, super, super fast trader. I used to trade US equities, QCOM predominantly. I was in and out of QCOM hundreds of times a day, constantly. I grew up on reading the tape, time and sales. Very, very fast trader. I was extremely, extremely active in the in the US equities market. So I've always been a trader. Investing is something that I had to learn over the years, because it's very difficult for a trader and with a scalper's mentality who trades very quickly and very fast to hold on to positions. Yeah. And it took me a very long time to get to where I am today, to the point where I'm at. I think the biggest challenge for me has always been psychological, to be honest. It's not been technical stuff like this. Yeah, no worries, Sty. Thank you for turning up, man. I appreciate it. Y5 put out a tweet the other day about the top 800 holders having 100 billion plus tokens equals financial freedom by the end of the year. Is it possible? I can't say. I haven't looked into that. I mean, it's all math based. In terms of the numbers themselves, it's math based. And then obviously for that to work, whatever that would be, whatever it looks like, and I'm not saying I know, I don't, it's all volume dependent, volume dependent, revenue dependent. For you to be able to have financial freedom by the end of the year means that you have to be paid something, or the growth is so exponential that the money that you have covers everything for years and years and years to come, right? The question you should ask is it possible? Is that likely? Is it probably going to happen? When you answer these questions, and you get to the answer, and that's for every project, not specific to Y5. I haven't looked into what they said. I couldn't answer that in any real sense. Bitcoin felt like a stone. Yeah, the difference is with gold, you've got physical gold. So if everything goes to, hell in a handbasket, you still hold the physical gold, which will have value to somebody, perceived value, intrinsic value, real value. It doesn't matter. It will have some value to somebody. Somebody sees that shiny stuff, Remember, guys, people have been murdered for, over the years for money, for gold, for all of this stuff, man. It's there's some crazy stuff that happens in this world. So if you had to use physical gold to buy goods, for example, somebody's going to take it from you. No worries, Robert. Welcome, man. See you later. Right, we're getting there, guys, because I need to shoot off. Engine. Yeah, I haven't spoken about Engine for a long time. We still hold it. Just waiting for an opportunity to basically add to this. Still believe in it. Still think it's cool. But you know, uh, and actually Ben can confirm this. I don't know if I should say this on live stream, but basically when price was here, somewhere around here, I said to Ben, I'm going to get out when it hits $4, and he was like, what? And then it exploded to $4 and I got out of my position. And he was like, how? What just happened? It was actually really, really funny. But yeah, um just to answer your question, it's just a long drawn out process with Engine. You know what I mean? And again, it's like everything else right now. We just wait for a market turn, wait for things to happen, and then we can slowly start to add to our positions. Appreciate it, Jose. Thank you, man. Jan Blackberry's asking, I mark my chart LSP. If BTC does hit 20K, I have BNB as low as 107, 145. I was going to ask, would that depend on how BTC drives into 20K liquidity? Yes, it does. If it accelerates into that liquidity pool, it's more likely that BNB drops quickly through 200 and probably hits 185 and stops. If it grinds and grinds and grinds and does all of that horrible stuff, then it's more likely we get down to that sort of 150 level and possibly lower on BNB. But again, these are all just kind of numbers at the minute. We need to stay on top of price throughout the days, and we'll see it happen before it happens, just like always. Yeah, man. Just whenever I go on, whenever I'm on a live stream, share the link. Just basically share the link with everybody and just say whatever you want, within that tweet or social media post or whatever the case may be. And I'd really appreciate that, man. I really, really appreciate that, Evalio. Could 4K get out? He didn't. Yeah, that's frustrating, Andrew. I've experienced that many times trying to help people. And I suppose they would say, well, who are you to say that? What if you're wrong? But I'm careful. Like when I know and it's somebody I really care about, and I'm like, look, I'm not saying I don't care about you guys. I'm just saying, like, people personal to me. I'm like, you've got to get out, man. Like you've got to listen to me. You've got to get out. And thankfully, most people have listened. So yeah, agreed, Alan. I hope nobody's been negatively affected by this craziness. So there's two questions left that I'm just going to quickly address. What are your thoughts on the AVAX network? Nothing at the minute, but I've heard of it. I think that's on the list to look into. I'm sure it's on my list, my reminder list. So I'll get back to that one. But you guys have got to remind me of this stuff as well. You've got so much going on, man, that I kind of, I'm kind of a bit crazy. You're very welcome, Don. No problem. Personally, wouldn't mind picking up some BNB for 107. Yeah, me and you both, Alan. What are your thoughts on Joe? She's really nice, to be fair. No, I'm just kidding, man. I don't know, Joe. If it's let me take a look. Let's go to our Tesla chart. I'm assuming you're talking about crypto. So it would make sense we do Tether. Okay. If it's this that you're talking about, that looks like a mess. That candle's not helping. Yeah, I don't know. That doesn't look right. That does not look right. And I think that's it, guys. Yeah, definitely a psychological jump, man. Low, yes, that's the one. In that case, nothing. I've got nothing to say about Joe. That looks like an absolute mess. But there's a reason it's bouncing around like that, So I'd have to look into the actual whatever it is. That chart's not normal. It's not normal for a particular the way that things flow. So I know it's specific to whatever they're doing. That's why it's like that. There's a reason it's like that, is what I'm saying. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for getting me over that 100 mark. I really appreciate everybody turning up tonight. Kind of want to say sorry about the black and white, but I think it looks pretty cool. So I'm happy with it. I'm happy with the way that it all kind of turned. I might plug my mouse in again next time. But yeah, like I said, I really appreciate everybody turning up. I hope somebody and everybody learned something from today's session. Keep your powder dry, stay safe, and I will speak to you guys very, very soon. Take care, guys. Ciao for now.